I've actually got a coffee today, and we also peer pressured Ali into getting a coffee with caffeine in at 3 o'clock. Has everyone got a coffee
And
today?
me. I got
No, I've
breakfast.
not. I'm on a monster.
Okay, now. How long do you reckon it'll be before we all land on the
Ne
episode actually with a coffee?
Fucking never.
Yeah.
Will it ever happen? Well, today we've got a fucking boss episode. Jake had the best idea in the world. Um, Kick us off, man.
Yeah, so I asked Isaac about his thing on Instagram yesterday. So Isaac put a post up a few days ago. If none of you have seen it, make sure you follow us on Instagram. And he had a response to the post, and it was about what makes a man. So I'll let Isaac explain his post and explain the context behind the story, and then we'll get into it.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll dive into it. I mean, like the explanation of the post definitely, um, you know, I think was what I basically did for anyone that hasn't seen it that is watching this. It just said how to be. It was a picture of me like swinging around a bow staff. It said how to be a man, and then there's 15 points of what makes a man, and intentionally, some of them were accurate. Intentionally, some of them were worded in a way that would be a little bit triggering because obviously we've got to play the social media game, we've got to play the content and the algorithm and all of that. Some of them were a bit jokey, that have no relation or relevance to whether you're a man or a female or feminine or masculine, whatever. But the whole point of it is there's a list of 15 things. Some of them are a little bit triggering, and then there were two individuals in particular that got particularly triggered by some of the things, and arguably were triggered by the two that I actually think are the strongest signs of masculinity, in my opinion, personally. And so, Jake, I'm curious before we actually like even dive into it, like what was it that you thought of the post itself? Because in fact, let's read off what the 15 points were so listeners have context.
I was gonna say I've got them here. I just took a screenshot.
Yeah, yeah, okay. You read them out, Ali.
So lift weights, have delusional goals, watch MMA, well, work 12 plus hours, drink too much coffee, always have a mentor, drink 4 liters of water daily, be kind but dangerous. I like that one. Eat like a bodybuilder, never lose your cool, surround yourself with winners. I like that one as well. Be offended by mediocrity, put everyone else first, never complain about anything, take on too much responsibility.
Okay. So, as we can see, probably listeners, you can sense that some of them are worded to trigger people. And from my perspective, though, when I'm writing that, genuinely, it probably took me about, wow, thanks, Meg, for calling in the middle of the podcast.
Mm.
So, that probably took me about 2 minutes to actually write it. I didn't even think about it at all. And so, when I actually look back on all of those 15 things, like there's an element of truth, in my opinion, to all of those things. There's an element of like, there's a through line of high level of masculinity, there is a natural tendency to do all of those things, in my opinion. So, like, Jake, what was it that you actually thought of the post itself?
When I read it, the first thing I thought was that is definitely going to trigger some people. And the first thought was, I wonder if you've done it on purpose to trigger someone, or whether that is something that you would stand by.
Mhm.
But I think, like you say, after spending a little bit of time reading it and thinking of my own opinion on this on the sort of matter, I think a lot of those things you could pick them apart, and they might be very sort of broad statements, but when you sort of think about it logically, a lot of them are actually probably quite accurate, and I probably agree with a lot of them. Um, yeah, I liked it as a post, but again, social media is a game where we're trying to get views, different people's opinions, trying to press on people's buttons. It does work, but also you can see that it is a very well thought out post.
Yeah,
That's
for
what
sure.
I feel.
Well, it wasn't at all. It just like you banged it out 2 minutes, it just flew it out. I was like, shit, I need to post it on. It wasn't that well thought out. But what, Jake, so other Jake, tell me what you thought of the post, and then we'll go through sort of like what we all think actually, because there's some things that I think are absolutely unbelievably important in regards to what it is to be a man that are just completely not on there at all. This is more like ready surface level stuff. I think there's a lot more that could have been added in there that is actually significantly more important than things like lift weights, because realistically, like lifting weights doesn't actually make you a man. Um, there's a lot more important stuff. So Jake, what was it that you thought about the post initially?
I agreed with Pretty much all of it. There's a few. I think, well, we're going to dive into the disagreements now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Cool.
just whatever you want to say,
I
mate.
think put everyone else first is correct, but it's not the sequence and how it happens.
Hmm.
I think you have to put yourself first to be able to then fill everyone else's cup up.
Hmm.
Because if your tank is empty, you can't put anyone else first. You give
Hmm.
like you're giving, it's like, well, you just give like 10%. Whereas if you put yourself first, you can give 20, 30, 40,
Hmm.
50 and more.
Hmm.
That's the one. But that's also like really pedantic because I do agree, but there's
I think
caveats.
no, I think you've hit on a really important point, which is what I was going to touch on in a minute. It's like the stuff that, which we'll just go into now, the stuff that I think actually leads is like highest level of masculinity and what being a man truly is.
Mm,
That list is boyhood about to go into masculinity, like true masculinity, where there's a person, like if you read that list, it's like I've written that list almost like as a joke. It's like the hyper expression or the expression of hyper masculinity is what is perceived as hypermasculinity because I knew it'd get picked up on the algorithm. Lifting weights doesn't make you a man. Drinking water doesn't make you a man. Watching MMA does not make you a man. That's just stuff that men like to do
yeah.
naturally.
But also, if you pick some of those things out, so say like training, for example, the
Hmm.
idea of wanting to better yourself and doing something that is dedicated towards that, in my eyes, is something that a man should do.
Yeah, yeah,
So as
I
much
agree.
as that is like the way it's been worded and put across is of a younger person, but the
Hmm.
actual concept behind them,
Yeah, yeah, for
like
sure.
watching MMA, for example, watching MMA, like you say, as a younger lad, is something that could be perceived as being masculine. But
Hmm.
being able to defend yourself or defend your loved ones is
Hmm.
also very important. So
Absolutely.
you can pick those out, and what is seen as a younger man's perception,
Hmm.
it's not wrong. It's just
Yeah,
not put across in the way in which we would probably articulate it if we were to
yeah,
sit
yeah,
down and have a conversation like we are doing now.
yeah, for sure. I think some of so absolutely some of the ones that I'm talking about more specifically, things such as take on too much responsibility.
Explain that one for me, please. That's the one I'm pondering on.
Yeah, so this was taken as like a joke. So we all seen those sorts of like reels that are similar to that, but there maybe like three or four, and it's like it's like it says like hot girlfriend, too much caffeine, no sleep, work
Yeah.
12 hours a day. It's like that sort of that sort of reel where you just see some guy like running in, you know, uh Lake Como with a laptop and shit. You know what I mean? It's like
Okay, okay.
those types of reels. It's like sort of taking the piss. It's like a young boy that's trying to prove himself. He's like taking on too much responsibility. He hasn't understood his capacity yet. He's never pushed to burnout yet. He's never actually like felt what that is. And so he hasn't yet learned, okay, actually you're not supposed to take on too much responsibility. You're not supposed to put everyone else first. You have to put yourself first. And taking on too much responsibility, I think it's an interesting one because I think you want to take on a lot of responsibility, but you never want to take on too much. And it naturally takes a high level of wisdom to be able to understand where that that balance is. And if you're not yet mature enough, you have no idea where that balance is, and you will constantly go on and off and take way too much on and then burn out and then take way too much on and burn out, which is what I was doing like last year.
I think also for probably for younger lads, it's probably seen as the cool thing to do, that it is masculine to
Yeah,
do that, so that
yeah.
it's important for people to feel like they've got to then show that to others. So, oh,
Hmm.
I have this to deal with, or I work X amount of hours. But we all know then, being more mature, it's not about doing it for anyone else. That's what you just do and you get on with it.
100%. 100%. Well,
Sorry,
as a
just one. Do you know this never complain about anything? Is that take responsibility for your own actions?
yeah, sort of. Can we come back to that, Alex? I think that would be really good to unpack. But I just
Yeah.
wanted to say then to oh fuck, I've actually forgot what I was gonna say. So we'll just we'll just go into that one. Never complain about anything. Um, I no, yeah, I just never complain about anything. I think that's a highly masculine
So if
trait.
you went, so if you went to a restaurant and you got served raw chicken, you wouldn't complain. You just eat it.
No, I'd say this is raw. Please bring me another one. So that's a solution. That's the I'm
Is
not gonna sit there and go, oh
all your
my
class is
God,
complaining then?
this chicken is raw. Like complain is like. oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't believe I got injured. This
Okay,
is
yeah,
so
yeah, okay.
bad.
Yeah,
This is
okay,
awful.
I agree with that.
I just think this is literally 0%. There's 0 point in complaining about anything ever. And actually, like, if there's one pet peeve that I have based off last week's episode is like in life, actually, if there is anything that actually pisses me off is when people complain. It's just like, what are you complaining for?
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it's good to get shit off your chest.
But there's a difference between getting shit off your chest and complaining.
It's just a vehicle. That's the way people would.
I
Yeah.
feel like Ali, have you been triggered by this because you do you like a good complain? You like a
No,
good
no, no. It's just like,
complainer?
for example,
Oh, he complains all the time in the gym.
Yeah.
fuck off. No, but for example, like, say if a client's pissed you off and you're
Yeah.
annoyed, yeah, isn't that complaining about the client?
Eh,
Well, you just said that if he's annoyed you, there's no expression there. You
But
just felt
if
annoyed.
you're going on about it, or he or she has annoyed you, or someone's annoyed you, and then you're going on about it because it just frustrated you, is that complaining or not? I'm trying to figure out the definition of complaining here.
Again, though, the post isn't to be taken literally.
No,
Literally,
that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to get to the point of. Because like I understand the point of like control what you can control, let everything go, letting everything else go. That's what I was asking you. Is it the point of just taking responsibility? That's what I was asking.
it is, yeah, but like also at the same time, just any form of complaining. Like if a client's pissed you off, why are you complaining? Speak to the person and address the issue directly. It's like we shouldn't be complaining about clients. Do you know? So it's like even a complaint to yourself. It's just like why are we even having that thought? It's just like let's just go and find a solution, have the conversation with the client, fire the client, cancel the direct debit, do what needs to be done. But there's no point. By the way, I'm not saying no one ever complains because
Yeah,
I
yeah. No,
definitely
I get your
complain.
point. No, I agree with
I
your point.
definitely complain from time to time. I think just a masculine trait is to be like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about this because I think more so behind that is anyone ever seen what's it called, that book, Atlas Shrugged?
I've seen them, not really.
So I've never read it either because I've actually got it there. It's like that thick. I'm like, I'm not going to read that book. I ordered it. I was like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Then it came. It was like a fucking 5 kilo book. I was like, no. But just the idea of Atlas in and of itself, I've never even looked into Greek mythology. So if anyone, if I'm butchering this, then I apologize in advance. The idea that someone can hold the weight of the world on their shoulders, I think that is an essence, or there is an essence of masculinity that has a through line to that as well. Being able to just go, I'm just going to bear the load for the people around me. I'm going to be able to show up for everyone around me. I'm going to be able to handle all of this chaos, this stress, this bullshit, so I can protect my family, I can protect my partner, I can protect my kids, and they don't need to be burdened with that. I think being able to just sort of shut up and get on with it, as much as is um, not always the answer. Being able to shut up and get on with it, I think in essence is a very masculine thing. And it doesn't mean that you have to do it all the time. We always like we need people around us, we need to speak about mental health and all of that stuff. But I think being able to shut up and get on with it is a strong trait.
I agree. You
I
have to have it
agree.
in the locker.
Hmm.
It's like the same as in training. To train hard at the beginning, you just have to train like a maniac and train with shit form.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When you first start, you got to train like shit, but just be as aggressive as you can. And then it's that pendulum swing of like really good technique, shit form. You do that for a few years, and then you find that sweet spot.
Mm.
But you have to go to each edge of the pendulum to then realize where that sweet spot is,
Mm.
which I
Absolutely.
think falls into what you said about, what was it, be dangerous but kind?
Yeah.
That's
Be
you'd rather
kind
be a
but
warrior in
loving.
a garden than a gardener,
Yeah,
or isn't it?
yes. But at the same time, there's you shouldn't give a sword to a man who can't dance. It's from Buddhism, I think.
I think
Shouldn't give a sword to a man who can't dance.
Yes.
Explain that.
Oh, you shouldn't give power to someone who can't relax into, I guess you could call it, um, kindness.
Huh?
Like if someone's just like go, go, go all the time and they're aggressive or they appear aggressive, it's like, don't give that guy a sword.
Mm.
yeah.
It's probably not the wisest thing.
I
These are
like that.
sort of they're not rules as such, are they? They're sort of like things to the guidelines, aren't they? In regards to like never lose your cool. It's impossible to be perfect. Like
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're
of
gonna lose
course.
your cool from time to time, but it's like every single time you lose your cool, it's like to assess, and next time that event comes up again, you don't lose your cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's how I'm looking at these. And instead of like saying you have to do all these, it's like this is what we try to strive for in a lot of situations in life. If we do make a mistake, can we not make that mistake again?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And yet, going back to the whole post in and of itself, I think the whole point of it, when I thought of the concept and just banged out some ideas, is like what's going to be a bit triggering to people, what's very one-sided, and what is it that it's because it's sort of like how to be a man, you have to execute all of these things perfectly and the very absolute. Never lose your cool. Obviously, no one's ever going to do that.
Yeah.
I lose my cool very often. So it's like, it doesn't mean I'm a female. It just means that, okay, if we were talking about extreme expressions of masculinity, I'd probably be able to handle myself
I
and
think
handle
what
my
we should be
emotions perfectly
striving
all the time,
towards.
of course.
Yeah.
But what I think is missing from this is, which I think is important to make a clear distinction between, is we're talking about how to be a man, okay? But there's masculinity and there's femininity. My actual personal opinion, I think we've spoke about this before, Jake, is that to be a proper man, you actually have to be bang in the middle, extremely masculine and also at the same time extremely feminine at the same time, which is incredibly
Um,
difficult to
how's
do.
that possible?
What do
I
you
think it's
mean?
more so having traits of both, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah, but
being one or the
at the
other.
same time, you'd either be one or the other, wouldn't you, in that regards?
Well, you can be in a masculine state, but have the capacity to shift over to feminine
Yeah.
very shortly. Can't be in
Yeah,
both
yeah,
energies at the same time.
yeah.
You
Okay, I
can
got it now.
you can go between the different energies whenever you wish. So as much as he's an absolute twat, um, no, I don't think anyone's ever said it better. Right? Andrew Tate said one time that you want to be able to kill someone and hold a baby in the same day.
Hmm.
I'm not saying we should kill people, guys, okay? All right.
It's a
But
figure of speech.
you'd have the capacity where if you had to kill someone, you would be able to, and then also bring yourself down to a level where you could then hold a baby and be at home and be in a relaxed state. And the capacity to be able to move between those two energies, I actually think is the most important thing. Because if you can do that, you are pretty much have conquered life. Because I think there's nothing really that you will come up against that will be overly challenging to you.
Hmm.
I think that's actually the hardest thing to do.
How much backlash did you get off that post? Did you get many people disagreeing or
No,
no?
zero backlash apart from those two comments.
And what were those comments?
Well, one guy said, work 12 hours a day, haha, slave pilled, I'll continue to work 4 hours a day. So that one really confused me. I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I mean, what do you guys think of that? Because like, if there is one of them on that list that is just classic masculine trait, is just work extremely hard. Like I don't like maybe the be kind but dangerous one, but like men work like
Again,
the
the working hard or working 12 hours a day is different, isn't it? So again,
Yeah.
you've worded it in a way that's gonna trigger people. Whereas if it was work hard at everything that you do, to me that's a masculine trait. Doesn't mean
Mhm.
you have to do 12 hours of it. So if he's doing
Yeah,
4 hours, but he's grafting his ass off for 4 hours and he's bringing home money to provide for his loved ones and have a good standard quality of life,
yeah,
he's doing his job in my eyes.
Because you
yeah,
could
yeah.
argue
Doesn't have to
if
do
you work
12.
in, sorry, Jake, look, go on,
Sorry.
sorry. So if you work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's 96 hours. You wouldn't have time to spend time with any of your family.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, that obviously just comes down to like personal
That's a
value
view.
stuff, doesn't it?
That's me. So I think the working hard. I like the don't accept mediocrity. Mediocrity, sorry. I like that one. It's like do everything to the best of your ability. I think that's a. I don't think that's a male trait. Just think that's a good positive trait in general. I think a
Yeah,
lot of them. I think a lot of the traits are trans. They can go between both of them.
yeah, yeah, for
Like, I
sure.
don't think they're just quote unquote masculine traits. I just think they're trans. I keep saying the word trans here. It keeps going off in a bad way. But like they can flip between masculine and feminine, can't they? Do you know what I mean? It's like it's transactional is the word I was thinking of. It's not just masculine trait. They're just good traits of a hu good human. At the
Yeah,
end of the day, I think.
Almost like standards that we should all be striving for,
Yes,
isn't
I
it,
think
really?
standards of what a good person should be doing. I think that's the
well,
best way
look,
to put it.
again, like this post is obviously, you know,
I like it.
it's designed to be a bit triggering and whatever. Let's actually like think like what is how do we actually define what a man is? Like,
You
I've never
can't.
actually tried to define that. Like how would you define that?
Trying to
Also,
get us
as well,
cancelled,
we've
by the way.
What was that, sorry?
he
Trying to
said
get us cancelled.
I know, fucking hell, mate. It's a fucking bad question to ask
No,
that
I don't
at
think
this
you
day
can
and age.
define
What
it.
is a man?
I don't think you
think
can define it.
generations as well. You ask
Yeah.
different people from different generations.
Yeah,
Say like obviously Ali, 10 years older than me, will be a different answer
Yeah.
compared to what I would say. Also, what makes a man today would have been different 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20
yeah,
years ago.
for sure.
So it constantly evolves, doesn't it? So can you really answer that?
Well, I mean, I literally do not mean anything to do with like obviously trans people and whatever. And I've got no idea about any of that shit, right? It's just like the traits that you would consider to be masculine that men, however you want to define them, typically will embody. What are the types of traits that you guys think of initially?
Straight
Ali,
away for me, is protector.
Yeah.
yeah. I think well it's that's the classic, isn't it? Protector and provider.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You,
Mm.
Honesty.
how is that a trait, though? I think that there's a definition that's needed there. Because everyone says protector and provider. Everyone says protector man, provider man. It's like, what does that actually mean?
Well,
Be
I
able to
think
provide for the people that you care about in whatever's needs be at that moment in time. Whether that be
That's what I
financially,
mean.
whether that be looking after the son because the partner or the daughter, the partner is doing something else, like taking the
Mhm.
responsibility of what needs to be had,
yeah.
and not shunning it off. Because if you look at a lot of people nowadays, they just don't take responsibility for their actions. They just don't take responsibility at all.
Mhm.
Like they'll
hmm
easily pass it on to someone else or blame something else. Whereas if you take responsibility for what you're, so for example, if you have a child.
Mhm.
Right, I don't have a child, so I'm going to be very careful what I say now is it's your responsibility for that child. It's like you shouldn't be relying on other people to look after that child all the time if you've made the decision to have a child. Do you know what I
hmm
mean? I think that's probably, so for example, if your partner is busy or she's going away somewhere for work or something like that, the man's responsibility in that situation is to look after the child. It's not to then palm it off to a nursery or something like that. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
I think
That's-
that's a good proxy is like generally the more responsibility you take, probably the more masculine you are. Because it's like you
That could be the same as feminine, though, couldn't it?
mm, well,
Just because you're feminine energy doesn't mean you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
So if you look at a mother, so if I take my sister now, who's just had
mhm,
Lara, she's got fucking shitloads of responsibility
yeah.
to look after that child.
Yeah, but also I don't know who the father is, but like if someone was to break into the house, he's responsible. You know,
But he's not responsible. He would just, it's not his
well, it is
responsibility.
because who else's responsibility is it? Like he has to protect the family. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like the buck
but my
stops
sister,
at him.
my sister will protect that Lyra and Ari
Yeah,
just
of
as
course.
much.
But yeah, I
So
think
it's not his response. It's not he's
yeah,
responsible because he should never be put into that situation. He would
yeah,
take responsibility. It's not he's
yeah.
responsible. He would take
No, yeah,
responsibility
of
to
course.
protect.
That's more so what I mean. I don't think it's like responsibility
Yeah.
is for men or for women. I think in general is like a masculine trait is to like have a drive to take responsibility
Yeah.
wherever it's possible. Um,
Agree.
but the when you said before, Jake, protector and provider, I think the protector is I think quite straightforward. It's like, are you physically capable of protecting your family? I think that's pretty straightforward. I think the provider is more nuanced because you have to be skilled enough as a person to be able to provide financially and provide emotionally, which is very difficult to do because it's very easy to do one. I'm trying
And
to
I
do
think
both.
that was advocate with the protector though.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily the physical ability to be able to do it, it's the willing to be able to do it. Because you get loads of people saying, so what I mean by that is like how many times do you go to the gym or you just go to a position where you just hear people say out loud, or I'll twat him, wouldn't I? Like, how the fuck do you know? Like you don't know, but and it's like people will say these things, but are you willing to get in a fight with that person? I think is the answer because you don't know who's going to win the fight. But are you going to put yourself in that situation to protect, but you could get hurt?
hmm
Because at the end of the day, like if a fight could end in any freaky way, couldn't it? But it's
hmm
like, do you have I don't want to say the balls or the guts to put yourself in a situation to protect people, as opposed to saying you will protect them because you've got no idea what's going to happen on the other end of that. So, for example, like someone breaks into your house and you go, I'm going to protect Meg. Well, if they've got
Mhm.
a fucking gun, you're fucked, aren't you? But are you willing to take a bullet for Meg? Does that make sense?
For sure, for sure. That does make sense. However, I would say though that's still not enough. Is like what would be enough to actually be a protector is to be so skilled in combat that you are actually capable of being able to deal with the situation that comes up. Because yeah, if someone comes in with a gun, I'm not going to be able to just like run at them and they're going to be dead. So it's probably going to be more about using my brain and being like, okay, Meg, get in the cupboard, do this. I'm gonna, do something. I'm gonna do something that's going to make sure that hopefully I don't get shot in the face. And so it's like it's about using your brain. It's about the capacity you have to be able to deal with a combat situation because it's like it's all well and good trying because you might not be able to protect anyone and just be like, oh well, I'm just gonna like run into this fight situation and then get fucked up and your family gets fucked up as well because you weren't ready. I don't think that's enough to just have the willingness to do it. I think you also need to be prepared for that situation. So Ali, for example, how much do you weigh now? Like,
I don't know, 95 kilos.
so it's like it's because of the work that you've done. Your
Yeah,
way
but
of
just because I
protecting.
wait, that doesn't
You're
mean I
just
can fight though.
No, I know, but you are of a certain size where you naturally are a deterrent.
Yeah, I get that. But what I'm trying, what my whole point of this is because you get the people who have done MMA once or done boxing once, and then
Hmm.
they think they could just take on the world.
Yeah, of
And
course.
they throw around phrases like that because they've done these sessions once. They go, well, I can protect my family. It's like, well, you've got no idea who the other person because
Exactly.
they've been doing MMA since they were three. You're
Exactly. You're
pretty
gonna get
fucked,
fucked
aren't
up.
you?
Exactly. But like because you've built loads of muscle, you naturally are a deterrent. And also if you did get in a fight, even if you can't fight, you're pretty
Yeah,
fucking strong. So you're probably gonna be able to fuck some people up.
yeah, I get your point, by the way. It's just more the people like you say a lot of stuff, but if you actually got put in that situation, would you actually do or not? And I think
Oh
because if
yeah.
you look at smaller people, so for example, if you had the person who was like 5'5" and the person was 6'4" and you've got 150 pounds on them, I don't care how well you can fight, right? That's a big discrepancy.
Yeah, yeah.
All it takes.
100%.
But are you still willing to put yourself in that situation to protect the people behind you? I think that's a really, really positive trait in
Hmm.
that situation because you're not. It's like David and Goliath, isn't it? It's like you're
Yeah.
not going to win, but at the same time, it's like you're willing to just prevent it to potentially somehow protect them by
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I
That's
agree.
my point of that.
It's the willingness. My just slight tweak is like I agree completely, but it's not enough to just be willing to do it. You also have to win. So like if you are fighting someone who's 150 pounds heavier, you're gonna have to get a brick or a bat or a knife or something because you
Yeah,
cannot
but
just go and
that's
get
not
fucked up.
that's not, yeah, but that's not skill though, is it? No, you're saying about skill set here. It's like. That's my argument. It's like it's the skill set element would be a small population in the world who does boxing and MMA. If you look
Hmm.
at the percentile of men, but my thing is like if you look at the percentile of men, and then you're saying you have to be a man, so you have to go to a boxing or MMA class. I don't think that makes you a man.
No, no, definitely not. Definitely
I
not.
just think are you willing to fight until the end,
Yeah,
until you can't do anymore? What about and I agree with whatever means necessary if you're put in that kind of situation.
yeah, for sure. By the way, I've just, want to be clear, any children listening, do not get knives and start stabbing people, okay? Okay.
Or do what my sister's do what my nephew done.
What did your nephew do?
Push someone over in there yesterday and they banged their head.
Masculine as fuck.
Yeah,
He's
fucking.
already
He's gonna
smashed
be
it. He's doing well.
But you know,
he's
like
gonna be a
another thing that's
warrior.
funny about it, like, is like, you know, like we say, well, like as you're not that much younger than me, but like, John, we were all in nursery. You two, because you're a little bit younger, might not be the same, but like that'll just be like going to sit in the corner and you get shouts that, and then at the end of the day, like you'll speak to the parents. My sister got a phone call about an incident that's happened, like made it. Like by the way, he shouldn't be pushing people over. Let's be honest, but like made a massive instance of it. It's like he's 2 years old.
Is that a problem though? Is it a problem? He's
That's what I
two.
mean. It's like
This
he's
is
2 years old. It's
like
like.
this is actually something that I was speaking about. Who was I was speaking about with someone the other day? Um, might have been Simon. Might have been Simon. And we were basically just speaking about the fact that kids growing up these days is like everyone as the kids are growing up, they're a lot softer because especially boys are being told, and especially in schools, are being told that their masculine traits are wrong, inherently just incorrect. It's like it's pretty normal for a 2-year-old to push someone over. Like when I was two, my mum told me the story as many times when I was like 2 or 3. My cousin, I used to just every time someone was, I used to slap him in the face, like just dead hard as I could. It's like that's just This is what you do when you're a young child. You're learning how the world works.
Yeah, and
And
I think the responsibility on the parents, it's like what your mum done. After that was then her responsibility to parent you.
exactly, exactly. But to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, you are not allowed to push anyone over. And therefore you need to get banned from nursery. It's just a bit like, come on, this is like
But
this is
it's the thing of like you're not allowed to push. You can't just push people over. Like you're not allowed to do that. But it was just the way it got made into a big instance. It's like do you know what I mean? It's like give the kid a break. He's
Mhm.
two. But yeah, I think I agree with you in regards to like the world. Like what's quite funny about your Postmates, or not funny, but just interesting is them traits if you would have said them 10 years ago wouldn't have even nothing would have been said.
Yeah, yeah.
What we will bring up though is I do not get the lad who fucking said about the mental comment.
Oh yeah, fucking mental, that mental. I want to come back to the providing financially and emotionally in a minute, but let's speak on that. So just for some context for listeners, this guy commented, um, he said, "Imagine being a man and needing a mentor, lol." And so my argument essentially, I recorded a reel after this, and my argument essentially was the type of person that says this is probably two main things are going on. Is they are extremely delusional about their own capacity, which is a clear sign that they're still stuck in boyhood, or they're extremely insecure and unable to take on help, which is also a sign that they're stuck in boyhood. I think an actual man who is secure enough in themselves, who knows who they are, who knows where they're going and how they're going to get there, is more than willing to take help because they have an accurate sense of self. They know that they don't know everything, and they are also very aware that there are people that are much further ahead than them. And so they are willing to take help on because they know that that's going to get them closer to their goals faster. And they don't care about how they look to others. They just want the answers to get towards the goal. And so they'll do whatever is required in order to do so. And they also understand just generally how life works. Is like the more you collaborate with other people, the faster you'll move forwards. Is that saying, isn't there? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah, I just thought it was a very, very stupid comment.
Why?
Why do I think it was a stupid comment?
Yeah.
If you didn't have someone to guide you along the way, how are you supposed to know how to get there? Or why would you want to get there more efficiently? Or why would you want to learn different? So, for example, we've all learned off different people. We've all learned off different ways to do things, and then we take what we think is right at that moment in time. So it's like adding as much like tools to your toolbox. Like that's
Mm.
what I thought those mentors are. Is like they give you more tools, so when that scenario comes up in life, you can actually then pick the right tool. Whereas if you've actually got it by yourself, you're having to make mistakes and then still don't know what the right answer is the right answer because you've not been taught loads of other different ways. I thought it was a ridiculous comment. No, but talk about business mentors, that goes into a different conversation altogether. But when we talk about mentors in life, I think mentors in life are really important. Like I've had them all through my probably since the age of 20. I've had people above me within this coaching career and just life in general who've guided me in certain ways, and I think it's been really important. And also, I think a mentor can keep you keep you put you in check. I think that's a sign of a
Mhm.
good mentor. Do you know, if you're fucking out of line a little bit, or you said something, or you're a little bit too big for your boots, and they just put you in your place. I think it's
Mhm.
really important to get put in your place, especially with the way the world is now, where everyone thinks they're fucking the best thing in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, and actually, like, they've achieved fuck all. They just got a few 100,000 followers on Instagram. It's like it means actually jack shit in life. Whereas if
Yeah.
you actually seen people who achieve things and have really achieved greatness in whatever way they think, I think a mentor is extremely important for that.
Depends what we're classing
Mhm.
as a mentor as well, doesn't it? Because teachers, coaches, parents,
Yeah, yeah,
they're not labeled as a mentor, but the people who teach us ways of living or different concepts behind things of how to carry ourselves, skills, general life skills, that's at an early age. Then, as we grow older, yeah, we do. If we don't know the answers to a question or a problem, we go out and find the solution, typically
Mhm.
from someone else. That is a mentor.
Yeah.
Whether you pay them or not, you go and get the answers somewhere. So even if you go and read something, someone's put that together, and you're taking it from them.
Yeah.
You're just not calling it a mentor. So there's no
Yeah.
difference to it, is there really? And again, I think like you said, that's probably the words of someone who is either younger or probably just uneducated.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
I don't
thick.
even mean by age. Yeah, yeah, just a dick, yeah. But I don't even mean by age. It's like the 100, because I speak to them often in DMs. It's like they're 100% men, fully grown men, 40, who think like that. They're stuck in boyhood.
Probably in
They haven't,
denial a little bit as well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
But like having mentors is actually like fundamental to the development of the human race is like Jesus is a mentor. Like
Mhm.
Tell me
like
someone successful who's not had one.
there's no one in the
Yeah.
there's no one. If there was no such thing as mentors, every single generation would start again at zero, and we'd still be in the
Yeah, yeah.
stone. There'd be no AI, there'd be no cars, there'd be no electricity because no one would take any information from the people before them. It's like the whole fundamental fucking point of the human race is that we can acquire knowledge and then we can pass it on through words and language so that the next generation can do better. That's what makes us special and why we've dominated the whole planet.
Mhm.
I think what's potentially happened as well is because you've got some of those points that you've made that are probably said more from a younger person's perspective. So work 12 hours a day, don't show any weakness. You've got those ones, and then you've put in one that says have a mentor. They probably like polar opposite opinions. So in the
Hmm.
same list, someone's read some of those and gone, yeah, I agree. And that's why potentially they pulled that one out because they've gone, well, actually, that doesn't sound right because if you are doing all those things, you wouldn't need a mentor because you're too masculine to have a mentor. But in matter
Yeah.
of fact, that's probably more of a mature way of looking at it, of going, actually, a mentor is a good thing. People around you who are going to give you the answers and teach you how to do stuff
Well,
is is
yeah.
more beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what I was saying before. It's like what, in my opinion, actually being a man is where you'll just naturally fall into the role that you're supposed to be in whatever you're doing, whether it's work, at home, whatever, is you've got a really strong balance of masculinity and femininity. And you're in touch with your emotions, but you're also able to be extremely driven. And so you'll naturally just slot into the energy that you're supposed to be in that given situation. So you can have extremely contradicting viewpoints. It's like, yes, you should work 12 hours a day and you should never complain about anything, but also you should be able to cry in front of your bed and not feel bad about it. Like that is, but I believe wholly in both of those things because if you can't do either of those things, you're probably not that masculine.
And it's knowing the right times of when that's needed and when not as well, isn't it? So it's being
Yeah,
intelligent enough to know now's the time that I can be more
yeah,
sensitive, or actually this is the right time to be more masculine and less sensitive. That's the skill, isn't it, of knowing the right times for the right things.
absolutely. Yeah, kill someone, hold a baby in the same day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Don't hold someone else's baby though. If you ain't got one, don't hold it.
yeah, especially if you got
Just
blood
in case,
sliding
if
out.
we're putting some disclaimers out, it's worth putting out there.
Yeah, guys. Right, we're just going to do a whole disclaimer. Please don't sue us. Jake, we were saying before about definitions for um, providing. What's your definition of providing? So you're saying protection and provide and provision. What's your definition of what it is to provide and why is that important? What does that mean? Like why is that part of masculinity to you?
Me.
I was talking to brown hair Jake.
Brown hair, Jake. Thanks. Um, I think it's actually exactly what you both just said. I think it's the ability to know when to do what, when to hold space, or when to be very direct and very logical.
Hmm.
I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Hmm. I think the through line that seems to be the case that I think we all agree on is yeah, there's a combination of the typical masculine traits that probably come natural to us, plus also being able to do some of the more typically feminine stuff,
Mhm.
but it's based upon a desire to take responsibility for those around you and the people around you so you can protect and provide for them.
Yeah, good.
And you slot between masculine energy and feminine energy to be able to show up how you're supposed to show up in the moment.
I think it's the willingness to do all of those things and put 100% into each one of whenever you're doing it.
Hmm.
So if you are going to be the protector and to be at that sort of more masculine point, do it to 100%. Like we were saying before, being really fucking willing to
Mhm.
do your absolute best at that. And then also
Hmm.
when you are being more feminine and being emotional and being a little bit more soft, you also do that to your best of your ability as well. I think for me, it's all about your willingness and your trying, and that you should always be striving to be as the best and as good as you can for yourself and for those around you.
I
Mm.
actually think what you said at the end is the most important one out of all of these. I think, yes, tactically, everything that is on the list I can agree with on that post, Isaac. But I think if you just look to progress and learn from everything that you do, and you just like trust your intuition in that pursuit, you're gonna be able to do those things.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Ali,
Which
what
is
is
why,
it?
sorry,
What
go
makes a good old man?
Not going to comment on comments after this starts recording.
I was gonna say, right, what do before we'll wrap up in a minute, but what do you guys think is the hardest thing about being a man?
There's a song, right, by Dax. I'll tell you the title, and all have a listen to it, it does string true. It's
What
something
does
like to be the song's called "To Be a Man," right? And he says things like something on the lines of something like you want us to take on the responsibility, but then when we need help, you'll never listen. Honestly, like listen to a song, it's like a lot of the things you probably just nod your head to a little bit because I do
yeah,
feel like the world wants masculine men, but then they say masculine men are toxic. And there's a
yes,
lot of contradicting data now. And I think the hard thing about, because I'm obviously older than you three, it was very clear when my dad was growing up and like when I was growing up or like what I had to do to provide for people around me. Whereas now I think it's a lot more confusing.
on.
And I
yeah,
think the hard thing about being a man now is you don't know what's right or wrong thing to do.
I think
yeah,
that I agree. I think that is the hardest thing right now is not listening to external noise because there are so many people with different voices and they're given a platform to be able to voice their opinions. And you've got one camp who's extremely one way of this is what masculine men are, and then you've got the other who say this is completely wrong. And it's trying to navigate your way through that and also staying true to your own beliefs.
Hmm.
yeah,
For me, that's the hardest thing of what makes a good man in
yeah,
today's world.
absolutely. Have you seen, by the way, we've all seen the Manosphere documentary,
Hmm.
haven't we?
I've
What
not
did,
watched it. I've seen clips.
I've seen it.
you need to watch it, but it's so funny. What did you guys think of
Fucking ridiculous, mate. I hated it.
it?
Hated every second of it. Because I think to like sum it all up, what really baffled me is like you this how good it like in the internet is and like how clever some of these people are. A lot of what these like the people on the thing just said, I found myself nodding along to. Not even like
Yeah,
the short clip version of it. But then you see the whole episode of what it's taken from, and you're like, that's just fucking ridiculous. Like but like they're very good at clipping things up to make themselves sound a specific way to get people's attention, but their actual views are shocking. Like for example, know that tall blonde lad. Can't think of his fucking name right. The one who's like he said a few things that like, and I've seen him post. Thought, yeah, okay, I agree with that. Blah 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 blah. But then it's like I've got a wife, but I can sleep with whoever I want. But you can't.
oh yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
like that. That just doesn't. The world doesn't work like that. It's like and your
Yeah.
wife can't be happy with that.
And did you see that scene when they were in the kitchen and he was talking about that and her face just dropped and she was like, "Oh my!" And it was just like extremely obvious that she was not okay with this. It's like the
Hmm.
most abusive possible relationship you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like she's not even married to him, and it's like this whole fucking thing because and he's just got it completely just cornered off, completely isolated. She's got no possibility. It's just complete unbelievable level of narcissism and
Yeah.
manipulation. And it's like that's not masculinity at all.
And that's the problem,
It's
innit?
not.
It doesn't paint a good picture. That's why I've not watched it because I believe I'll get frustrated with it because these things are put out there and people act like that, but people see that and go, oh, fucking men of this, men of that. And
Yeah.
it's easy for people to paint everyone with the same brushes in it, which is not the case. And that's my personal opinion on it. It's just more frustrating than anything.
Yeah.
That how
Louis
can these people be given the time to be allowed on TV or to have an audience in front of him. That's the problem.
Louis Throw was really good on it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his ability to ask him questions because like he's not the biggest guy, is he? But like he was very confident in how he handled himself in those situations and honestly it's a good watch in regards to how bad the world could be if they had this viewpoint, but also how Louis Theroux like handled himself. I thought it was really good.
You know what? That's actually like the most perfect possible analogy for what masculinity is, be actually being a man.
Yeah.
Because we've got all of these hyper masculine men who are like driving around in Lamborghinis and are jacked and have got like, all this money and all these birds, and it's like that's what is portrayed as masculine. It's like it's not Louis Theroux in his fucking next outfit.
Hmm.
just sat there with no muscle mass at all, just chilling. He was the most masculine man out of anyone there. And just because he knows who he is, he knows what he stands for, his confidence is through the roof because he's not trying to be someone else.
Hmm.
Just knows who he is. He knows what he's done. He's worked hard and he's accomplished shit, and he's provided for his family both financially and emotionally, and he's done what it is that a man is supposed to do. And so when he's in a room with all of these fake masculines that are actually just little boys who are insecure as fuck, that really is a pattern. And so like that's a perfect analogy of what the difference between fake masculine and an actual masculine man is.
So be
How do
more
you
like
bridge
Louis.
that gap?
How do you bridge the gap?
And whether, just to give that context, I think it's actually important to realize they are so famous, all of them, and they're famous for a reason. It's not just that they post content that is catchy.
Mhm.
It's because, in my opinion, there's a lack of mentors in the world for young men as they, well, in this generation. I think that's the reason why they're so famous.
Yeah, yeah,
So
100%.
if you were 17 years old and you were listening to those and you need to bridge that gap between what they say and to Louis Theroux in a way, how would you do
Mm.
that? What do you think like the needle movers are for that?
We're going to leave it on a cliffhanger because Ali needs to go and he's recording the podcast. So we're going to leave it on a cliffhanger. We're going to pick up on that question next episode, and
Yes.
then we will open it up because that's a fucking great question.